with late game execution.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As we all know, the Sacramento Kings have been what we can probably describe as a trash fire bin, a garbage bin fire in the rain, whatever you can think of to describe the Sacramento Kings. I think before the 22-23 season, I think the last time they went to the playoffs was the 06 playoffs when they had Ron Artest, and I forgot who else was on that team. But that was the last time they probably went to the playoffs. We all know before that, if he was alive before that, I know some people went around when they was actually a powerhouse, when they had Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, and so on, Lottie Divac. They was a legit team. Should have went to the NBA Finals in 2002, but they was robbed of their glory because the NBA did not want to see a small market team in the Sacramento Kings go against, not even go against, but even being in the finals. The Lakers was the star attraction, the viewer go-getter. And then they went on this long playoff drought and never getting there. Yes, they had players like Tyreek Evans, anybody remember him, and of course DeMarcus Cousins, and they had plenty of good coaches, George Karl, but I don't think he ever got along with DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think DeMarcus Cousins ever got along with the front office. Mike Malone, we already just covered Mike Malone, talking about that the front office of the Sacramento Kings are just completely disrespectful, and they still are disrespectful to this day in the way they fired Mike Brown. And as we continue on, they finally find success. They draft De'Aaron Fox. They trade for Domantas Sabonis from, I think he was on Indiana before that. They get him Malik Monk. And now they finally trade and sign DeMar DeRozan. But even before they signed DeMar DeRozan, they made their first appearance in the playoffs in 16 years in the 22-23 season, led by Mike Brown, Coach of the Year that year, third seed, winning 49 games, going toe-to-toe with the defending champions Golden State Warriors before they was kicked out of the playoffs by a spectacular performance by Stephen Curry's 50-point game. Last year, they got to the play-in, lost. I think they lost to the New Orleans Pelicans, who are a complete barn fire right now themselves, only winning 5 games so far. I think they're like 5-27. And then you skip to this year, chaos. Nobody knows what's really going on. What's really going on in that locker room? Mike Brown is ousted, kicked out, replaced by former Kings star, local. He was local, Doug Christie. If anybody remember Doug Christie back in the day? For young kids that don't know who Doug Christie is, he was part of that championship almost team of the Sacramento Kings back in the early 2000s with Chris Webber and all of them. And now there's many things that are coming out. Nobody knows what's going to happen. As we all
Come
know,
on
some of
now,
you might not
dog.
know, but some of us do know that he
Come
is part of
on,
the
man.
Clutch Sports Mafia. So you know what can possibly be going on here. Many have claimed that the reason why Mike Brown was fired is because of the Clutch Sport Mafia. Who knows? But I think it was rather ugly and disgusting the way they let Mike Brown go. A phone call, not face-to-face like men, but a phone call. And you get rid of him right now when they can possibly change things around. The season's still early. They was only 13-19. And now you mix up everything. And I think most of this was to appease their star player, De'Aaron Fox, possibly. And, of course, DeMar DeRozan. But there's been several factors of why this season hasn't gone the way it has gone. These guys don't like to play defense at all. They don't believe in defense. And they have their own way in their heads of how they should run the team instead of listening to the coach. But it was obvious from what I read in this article that something was going on. And Mike Brown was the short straw. So reading this article out of BR Sports, it says De'Aaron Fox denies BS rumors of rift with former Kings head coach Mike Brown. And I think it was something that came out earlier today. I think it might have been Lou Williams that said something about that. There was something going on between De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan versus Mike Brown. So Sacramento Kings star De'Aaron Fox disputed the idea he had issues with head coach Mike Brown or helped to orchestrate Brown's ouster. There was never any pushback about anything he said Monday on X. This narrative of button heads or me going to management saying anything is BS. So you can run with that if you want. And he said this on X/Twitter. And then they showed a video of Lou Williams saying something. Maybe I should play this right quick. Let me see right quick. If they let me play it on X. Now I got to sign in. Hold up. Here it is. Before I get into the article, let's hear what Lou Williams had to say about this. So he has some interesting things. Turn the volume up. All right, let's go.
Team who we all had and still have high hopes for, and they fell short of those expectations under his leadership. And that happens, and that's no slight to his pedigree as a coach. You know, players get traded for a lack of a fit. Coaches aren't immune to that. You know, so I'm hearing there was just some pushback from how De'Aaron Fox was continuously being singled out. You know, whether it was publicly or behind the scenes, or the players just didn't agree with that sentiment, or you know, I was even hearing whispers that there was a situation where he might have asked, you know, or suggested that even DeMar DeRozan come off the bench, you know, and those things proved to be severe missteps in an already challenging season, where it put the front office in a position where they had to side with either the all-star talent they had or to part ways with their former coach of the year, who had a brand new 3-year extension. And ultimately they chose to go with the players. And that made Mike Brown a casualty of that. You know, could they have handled it differently the way that he was fired? You know, that's not my call to make. A lot of coaches and a lot of different people are coming out in support of how it was handled. But this was just a classic example of, you know, a coach losing the locker room and not being on the same page with his players. And, you know, at the end of the day, the players were, you know, who management chose to side with.
So that was Lou Williams on FanDuel. I think he's with oh boy, I forgot his name. He used to play on Houston. I can't even think his name right now. He used to play on Houston, then went to Memphis for a lot of money, and then just didn't do anything. I forgot his name. White boy. I can't even think of his name right now. But that was Lou Williams speaking on the situation on this FanDuel podcast they have. I guess FanDuel is really starting to come up. So that was what I read before was De'Aaron Fox's response to that. And it said Fox was responding to comments by former NBA guard Lou Williams on FanDuel TV's Running Back. Williams reported there was some pushback from how De'Aaron Fox was continuously being singled out. So, like I said, there's already confusion right there. Even assuming Fox didn't have a direct role in the decision to fire Brown, fans connected some pretty straightforward dots. The Athletic Sam's Amick and Anthony Slater reported on December 21st that Fox agent, the concierge of the Clutch crime family, Rich Paul, has recently met with Kings general manager Monte McClure and assistant GM Wes Wilcox to get a read on their plans to move the franchise forward. See, that right there, man. That right there lets you know that Clutch Sport has their hand on this. The Clutch Sport was the reason for this fire. The implications were clear with Fox eligible to become a free agent in 2026. Sure. Less than a week later, Sacramento made a coaching change. Yeah, that was all Clutch Sports pushing that. Slater and Amick examined the multiple factors that led to Brown's exit. Among the issues was how the coach, perchance for challenging his players, Fox included, in public and behind closed doors, was starting to wear thin. See, these guys, I'm kind of going to butt in every time I get down to the end of the article. See, these guys don't like to be disciplined, don't like to be called out because they're divas. They're divas. They make the most money, and they believe in their head. No one can really tell them what to do. They're non-coachable. During a practice, a day before the firing was announced, Braun and Fox had a long conversation that wasn't heated and seemed to end cordially enough. And they got a video of it here, but I ain't gonna show it. One presumes it was mostly or entirely in relation to Fox's foul on Detroit Pistons guard Jaden Ivey that resulted in a 4-point play for the Pistons. That mistake was the difference between in Sacramento's 114-113 loss to Detroit. So you got to take accountability. You can't make stupid plays like a 4-point play that cost the team the game. That's on him. But anyways, if nothing else, Fox didn't sound heartbroken by the fact that Braun got fired. He was, a matter of fact, when addressing the situation, pointed to how the veteran coach will continue to get paid thanks to the contract he signed in the summer. Man, that sounds kind of... The way the article made it sound, that sounds kind of like, yeah, he'll be all right. He getting paid. That's what that sounds like to me. Like, yeah, don't worry about his job. He's still getting paid by them. It's not enough. No, not enough. It's not as though this is the first controversial or puzzling decision the Kings made during the stewardship of the team's governor or owner, Vjejovic Donovich. I never can pronounce his name. Doug Christie is the 8th coach Sacramento has hired on an interim or permanent basis since the owner took over in May 2013. Dysfunction has been the norm rather than the exception. Still, concluding that Braun would be still around if he and Fox were on the solid footing together doesn't feel like a big stretch. So, the way that this sounds to me is a layup to figure this one out. Kings want to keep De'Aaron Fox. So, here comes Clutch Sports putting their nose in there for their client. Who knows what they said? Maybe they said, my client doesn't stay if Mike Brown stays around. Get rid of him or my client is off or you demand a trade. Kings probably don't want to do that. They want to keep De'Aaron Fox, and therefore the coach got to go. That's a possibility right there. That's what it sounds like to me. See, Clutch Sports is evil. Evil as hell. But outside of Clutch Sports, Kings, like I said, they're always going to be a dumpster fire. They will always be a dumpster fire. Do I think they will do anything this year? Get themselves out of this hole? I don't know. The West is tough. There's another factor that was not included in this. Actually, it was mentioned. Not De'Aaron Fox. DeMar DeRozan. I don't think DeMar DeRozan translates to this game, to today's game as well. It's too. From what I've seen, DeMar DeRozan when he played, especially when he was in Chicago, it's too post-up, turnaround jumperish. The man is not a great three-point shooter percentage-wise. And his type of game just doesn't fit in today's game. When De'Aaron Fox wants to run and gun, it's not going to work out. That's not Mike Brown's fault. That's the management's fault for even deciding this. Well, I think it was a sign and trade, but that's them. And yeah, this is another case of it ain't the player's fault, it's the coach's fault. Even though the players got to play the game, and if think they're too high up and diva, this is what happens. But anyways,